Hello everyone, good morning. In the last lecture, we have discussed up with some geography questions which you have written as a test on 21st, 22nd and 24th, and we have left out with 3 more days, 24, 25 and 26. So these questions we shall be discussing. So on 24th, you had written 3 questions, and in that the first question is enumerate the differences between tropical and extratropical cyclones using diagrammatical representation. Okay, so it is simply nothing but they are asking you to contrast and compare tropical and extratropical cyclones. Okay, so this question hails from climatology of your geography syllabus of the World Physical Geography. You have 3 major core areas, that is geomorphology, climatology and oceanography, and this question they have asked it from the climatology segment. Climatology in the present context started becoming very important exclusively in UPSC mains examination. At least one question, sometimes it might be 2, they opt to ask from climatology. So make sure that whenever you read the geography core, don't miss any topic from climatology. And within climatology we have many topics, but cyclone as one important topic is the first priority of UPSC every time, because India being a tropical country, so on its climatic aspect, tropical cyclones influence is must. You know how the tropical cyclones would be formed. Do you know it? Do you know the difference between how tropical and temperate cyclones would be formed? Extra tropical cyclone का मतलब होता है temperate cyclone, or sometimes it can also be referred as frontal cyclone. Yes or no? So because of front formation, this particular cyclones would be formed, right? Yes or no? Everyone is getting this. So can anyone give me a basic definition of cyclone? It means make sure that I have to understand it. Let it be in a layman language. You have heard this tropical cyclone, right? What was the recent tropical cyclone? Which region it has hit? Kutch region of Gujarat. But in general, the eastern states of India, right, which has to influence much from tropical cyclones. But why it has hit Gujarat? See, every time global warming पाप उसको लाना नहीं चाहिए, है ना आंसर में. See, when generally would tropical cyclones form mostly? What is the maximum like tropical cyclonic time in a year? Late summer. August, September, October are the months when we experience maximum tropical cyclone. But the recent tropical cyclone was abnormal. It was not in the late summer, it was in the summer. Yes or no? So it's an abnormalness. See, whenever you think about cyclone, which region it is hitting, it depends upon where it is originating. In general, most of the tropical cyclones which generally are formed in Arabian Sea, they doesn't come and hit India, because tropical cyclone character itself is moving from east to west. So those cyclones which are formed in Bay of Bengal, they tend to hit the eastern coast of India, because the next to it we have land. But for those cyclones which are formed in Arabian Sea, Next immediately to that portion, do we have land? No. So land is somewhere around the central and Middle East, yes or no? So this particular cyclone reaching this location, it tends to dissipate. Clear? Dissipation is the last stage where the cyclone would be having, disappearing stage. That's why the cyclones which are formed in Arabian Sea, they are neither stronger, because they doesn't have impact either reaching this or they doesn't reach India much. Cyclone can't change its direction, right? Unless and until Congress government comes, cyclone change होगा नहीं, है ना? तो ये पता नहीं कांग्रेस की गवर्नमेंट के हिसाब से ये साइक्लोन चलता है. कर्नाटका में इलेक्शन जीता और एबनॉर्मल साइक्लोन. 2014 में राजस्थान में आई थिंक दे हैव वन द इलेक्शन. Clear. Then comes Oki cyclone. Have you heard this word called as Oki? OCHKII. Oki. It was also abnormal cyclone. In general, 90% of the cyclones, they hit this margin. 90% of times. But sometimes cyclones might be formed here at 6, 7, 8 degree latitude also. Okay. So during that particular aspect, what will happen is, the path of the cyclone is most important aspect here. Many people think that just cyclone travels from east to west, but it is not true. The path of the tropical cyclone would be in this way. First, it shall travel from east to west for sure, no doubt at all. From the point of origin, where it has origin, it will travel from east to west. What is the major origin area of tropical cyclone latitude wise? Major origin area tropical cyclone का major origin area latitude wise. Tropical cyclones in generally 95% of the tropical cyclones originate between 8 to 20 degree latitude for sure. Extra tropical cyclones or frontal cyclones, they originate between 35 to 45 degree latitude. Do remember this stuff. Are you getting this? Wherever let the tropical cyclone originate between 8 to 20, initially it will move in this direction, east to west. Initially, up to 20 degree latitude, it will move in this way. Okay. From 20, after it crosses 20, it moves north. Okay. Up to 25 degree, it moves north. After 25 degree, it moves northeast. Up to 30 degree, it will be moving northeast. And after 30, it will move east. This is the actual path of the tropical cyclone. This is the path of the tropical cyclone. Are you getting this point? Now, it depends upon where the cyclone is originating. For example, cyclone has originated here. Let's assume in this way. It has traveled in this way, changed its direction, hit West Bengal. Cyclone has originated here, directly it hits Tamil Nadu. Cyclone originating here hits Andhra Pradesh. Cyclone originating here, what will happen? East to west, north, northeast. Are you getting this point? In similar way, there are certain cyclones which has also hit the western coast of India. The reason behind it was the place of origin. Global warming, El Nino impact, these are additional factors. But the place where it has origined, from that location they have hit Gujarat. Generally, Maharashtra and Gujarat would be experiencing this particular tropical cyclonic impact in this regard. That's why the path of the tropical cyclone to be remembered. So it has to be remembered, the path which we generally do, you might have only heard this particular path, that cyclone moves from east to west because it is under the direct influence of trade winds. Yes or no? But every time, despite it is under the influence of trade winds, but trade winds influence wouldn't be there for continuous span. So this is the parabolic path in which the tropical cyclone travels. Are you getting this point, everyone? Everyone getting this point? Clear? Everyone clear with this? Everyone? Everyone? Yes, Coriolis force, because like Coriolis force will make, generally cyclone का basic definition है, cyclone is an atmospheric disturbance with a closed air circulation having closed isobars surrounding high pressures at the outside, having low pressures at the center, where winds moving towards the low pressure. Generally winds will move from high pressure to low pressure, but they move in this particular closed isobaric path, is called as a cyclone. This closed सर्कुलेशन, एटमॉस्फेरिक डिस्टर्बेंस जो क्रिएट हो रहा है वो टेम्परेचर की वजह से हो रहा है, बट द क्लोज्ड एयर सर्कुलेशन विच हैज बीन क्रिएटेड, that is because of the Coriolis force. So Coriolis force will make this cyclones to rotate in anti-clockwise direction in northern hemisphere, clockwise direction in southern hemisphere. You know this particular point, right? And it is also the reason the Coriolis force being absent at the equator, tropical cyclones are not formed at the equator. That's why what is the latitudinal extent which I have drawn, which I have written? 8 to 20 degree. It might be from 0 to 20 also, right? But why not between 0 to 8? The reason is absence of Coriolis force. Got this point, everyone? Clear? Now, you know this concept, right? So whenever you try to write this particular difference, generally in mains examination, if the question is going to come from the cyclone, there are 4 typical aspects from where question raises. Point number 1, they might ask you regarding the distribution of the tropical cyclone across the world. Already UPSC has posed this question. The question was like, what is tropical cyclone and why most of the tropical cyclones are found around South China Sea, Bay of Bengal and Gulf of Mexico. Somewhere in 2014-15 they have asked this question. 13-14 they have asked this question. Down the line, 2 years down the line, in 2016-17 they started asking question on naming of tropical cyclone. Like they have asked some question like, why do the cyclones are being named and what is the pattern which generally is followed for naming the tropical cyclone. So generally you might have heard different names, right? Cyclone Hudud, Cyclone Amphan, Cyclone Fawad, Cyclone Jawad, Cyclone Gulab. Yes or no? You might have heard this Cyclone Mandas. You might have heard these, right? These cyclonic names. Who have given it? Yes, not exactly.
There are 6 regional councils.
Yes, exactly. World Meteorological Department has divided 6 ocean basins: North Indian Ocean, South Indian Ocean, North Pacific, South Pacific, North Atlantic, South Atlantic. And we fall under the zone of North Indian Ocean zone. And the countries which share North Indian Ocean, they have become a group, and every country tend to give set of names like 10, 8, 12, 16. So they will place it in a different row manner. Every time they use the first call. फर्स्ट इंडिया का यूज़ कर लिया, बांग्लादेश का, श्रीलंका का, पाकिस्तान का, सऊदी अरेबिया का, फिर आ गया, फिर इंडिया का, फिर ये कॉलम खत्म हो, लाइक दे टेंड टू यूज. नाउ वी हैव अ फ्रेश कॉलम which has been created. You will just, if you type it in the Google, you will find it directly. It started with Bangladesh. So for this particular regional council which is there, Indian Meteorological Department is the head who will collect and distribute all these names. Clear. So either they will ask on naming of the tropical cyclone. First is distribution, naming of the tropical cyclone. Third is formation of tropical cyclone. They might ask a sense of question on like discuss the formation of the tropical cyclone. You know what are the factors which will form the tropical cyclone? Do you know the 5 ideal conditions where tropical cyclone would be created? Can you name them? 5 ideal conditions. See, whenever tropical cyclone comes into your mind, keep these 5 points in your mind. Point number 1, sea surface temperature should be more than 27 degree. Sea surface temperature should be more than 27 degree. Presence of Coriolis force, second point. Presence of Coriolis force. Pre-existing low pressure. Whenever you write with your pens, remove the cap back to it. Fourth, low wind shear. Fifth, upper air divergence. Upper air divergence. Okay. So make sure that you mention these particular points. Okay. So either they will ask this tropical cyclone related question itself. In case if they want to mention or ask you a question regarding with temperate cyclone, they will not separately ask you about temperate cyclone. Rather, they will ask you to compare and contrast tropical cyclone and extratropical cyclone or tropical or temperate cyclone. So if they want to insert temperate cyclone into the question, 100% they will insert it with the comparison of tropical cyclone. Separately, they are not going to ask you discuss the formation of temperate cyclone, discuss why temperate cyclones are formed in this particular zone. They are not going to ask you this question. Okay. So here also they have posted the same, the compare and contrast wala question. So well, whenever you compare and contrast this tropical cyclones with temperate cyclones, what are the points on which you are going to compare? First, origin of latitude. You can compare. Tropical cyclones originate between 8 to 20. Temperate cyclones 35 to 45. Source. What is the source for tropical cyclone formation? Increase in sea surface temperature. Source for temperate cyclone? Frontal formation, not polar vortex, frontal formation. Okay. Hence, tropical cyclone is thermally induced. Can I say it in this way? Tropical cyclone thermally induced, temperate cyclone dynamically induced. Can I say this? Can I say this? Tropical cyclone structure V-shaped, eye involved. Temperate cyclone inverted V. Temperate cyclone inverted V. Tropical cyclone V-shaped structure, temperate cyclone inverted V-shaped structure. I is not involved. I wouldn't be there in temperate cyclone. In tropical cyclone, I would be there. Okay. Time frame, less time for formation, tropical cyclone, and less time for disappearing. Temperate cyclone, large time for formation and very high time for disappearance. Temperate cyclone, tropical cyclone life cycle is 7 to 14 days. Temperate cyclone is 35 to 50 days. Okay. Tropical cyclone creates more destruction. Temperate cyclone create less destruction. Rather than that destruction wala word, you can write that rainfall is associated with tropical cyclone. Rainfall is not compulsion in temperate cyclone. You can write this. And tropical cyclones, they are very stronger on the water. They are stronger on water bodies. Temperate cyclones, they are stronger on land. Tropical cyclones, they are stronger on water body. Temperate cyclones, they are stronger on land. Tropical cyclones only would occur on sea, but temperate cyclones would occur on land and sea. This is the difference. Temperate cyclone would occur on land and sea. Tropical cyclone moving path is initially east to west. Temperate cyclone west to east. Temperate cyclone west to east. Because these would be under the influence of trade winds, tropical cyclones. Temperate cyclones would be under the influence of westerlies. Okay. So in your answer, model answer also almost the same has been given. Easterlies impact on? Easterlies, trade winds. Easterlies are nothing but trade winds within the tropical region. You are speaking about polar easterlies? No, they won't influence much. Done. Any more points we can add? Tropical cyclones are unpredictable. Temperate cyclones are predictable. Tropical cyclones are unpredictable. Temperate cyclones are predictable. We can predict temperate cyclones very easily because of the contrast which is happening between the air mass that takes place very long for longer span of time. So we can easily judge the temperate cyclone is going to form. And tropical cyclones occurs mostly in late summers. Temperate cyclones occur mostly in winters. We can write some 8-9 points you have in your hand. So if you mention these particular points also, it is easy. So when they are asking you about compare and contrast, make sure that you write it in this particular tabular column manner. When they are asking the rest of the questions like discuss the formation of tropical cyclone, then you can write in a paragraph format manner with the diagrammatical representation. When they are asking you about the distribution of the tropical cyclone, draw the world map adjacently. छोटा सा draw करना है, पूरा map नहीं draw करना है. Just draw the tropical region and try to mention that. Okay, no need to go beyond. Sometimes they might ask you discuss the reasons why Bay of Bengal experiences more tropical cyclones with that of Arabian Sea. So for that you can draw India map and you can explain regarding with that. So these are some based questions which they generally are going to ask in UPSC mains examination. Okay, got this point everyone? And make sure that whenever apart from this compare and contrast wala answer regarding with the cyclone, any other cyclonic answer you write, you draw diagrammatical representation of the closed air circulation, low pressure at the center surrounded by high pressure. So that gives examiner of making you understand, and he will understand your thinking process and he will think that you know much regarding with tropical cyclone despite you know only 20 to 30% of writing the answer, but with the diagrammatical representations he thinks in that way. Okay. Next, question number 2. Question number 2. क्वेश्चन था लैंडस्लाइड्स के ऊपर. Yes, what do you meant by landslide? Sudden movement of earth due to gravity. Much far better definition. Movement of the topmost layer of the earth down the slope, either with the gravity or with some external force. Okay. So generally landslide refers to the movement of the topmost layer of the debris which we have exclusively along the hill slopes. Along the hill slopes you will automatically have the natural gravity, and if rainfall is an addition portion to it, the landslide would be most familiar. Are you getting this point? And this landslide is one of the mass movements which we can calculate. So in the geomorphic process, in the exogenic forces, landslides are referred as the mass movement of materials. So we might have landslide, soil flow, mud flow, soil slide, rock slide. We will have different types of mass movements. In that the most familiar one is landslide. And these kind of landslides are very familiar in and around the Himalayan regions or mountainous regions in general. In India, where do we have mountains? One is Himalayas, we have mountainous ranges. One is along the Purvanchals, northeastern states you have mountains. Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats you have mountains. Vindhyas and Satpuras you have mountains. Aravalis you have mountains. Yes or no? Himalayas, Purvanchals, northeastern state wala, Western and Eastern Ghats, Aravalis, Vindhyas, Satpuras. These are the familiar mountainous ranges. Out of all these, Himalayas, Western Ghats are the two regions which are having some high elevations, because Aravali elevations have been completely wore down. Right now Aravalis are not having height, you know that. Aravalis are hence considered as an examples for residual mountains or denudated mountains. So Aravali's average height itself is somewhere around 300 to 500 meter. So after Himalayas it is Western Ghats which will experience some high elevations relatively with west of the mountains. Eastern Ghats however have very less amount of heights compared to Western Ghats. So in this particular question what they have asked is, differentiate the causes of landslides in Himalayan region and Western Ghats. Here the test paper where they have given the question, similar to this based question itself they have asked in UPSC. Somewhere around closer to 2014 or 15 after the Uttarakhand flash floods. The question was like, discuss why Himalayan regions experiences more landslides comparatively to that of Western Ghats. Okay, this was one question. And similar landslide based question, discuss why landslides are more in and around Himalayan regions and suggest some measures. So almost similar to this particular mock test wala question they have already asked in UPSC. And this landslide wala topic on and often it is also one of the favorite topics where UPSC would be asking. Reason behind it is earthquake, landslide, tsunami, cyclone. These are the topics which are included in your core geography. Apart from cyclone, if you see earthquake, landslide, avalanche, tsunami, volcano, clear, all these are attached with your geomorphology concept. So what is the main aspect involved in learning geomorphology? See, for becoming an IAS officer or an IPS or a civil servant, what is the necessity to read history? आपको हिस्ट्री थोड़ी पढ़ाना है वहाँ जाके. आप डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर के ऑफिस में डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट बन के बैठ के हिस्ट्री थोड़ी पढ़ाएंगे. When someone comes to you, you won't teach them 1857 revolt, right? है ना? But why you are reading history? To understand the impact and ideology, what happened in our historical past, either on administration or on our livelihood. Yes or no? So, to attain some knowledge of that particular region, the history of that, we will have some notion and we can act accordingly. Why we are learning economy? Because economic development, revenue is also one of the departments where we will be taking care of once we become a district collector. Yes or no? So, to boost up the economy, clear, to boost up the rural economy or your district economy, you are the head of the revenue of your district, right? Yes or no? So, for that you have to understand the economics, how different sectors will raise, how one sector would be dependent upon another, how this cooperative societies, how this transportation will be helping in boosting up the economy, how infrastructure will be helping us. All these things when we know, we tend to implement there. Why we learn polity? To understand the basic fundamentals so that when we start administration, we will follow certain rules and regulations which are mentioned in the constitution. We work under constitution, right? If we are working under President of India, it means we are working under constitution itself. So fourth one, geography and environment. To understand the relativity of the closer environment, we learn geography. In geography, why we learn geomorphology? Is it to make people understand why fold mountains are formed? Then disaster management, or else to understand about the soil picture of that region, or else to understand the mineral distribution of that region. Let's say you are posted in Himalayan regions. Okay, landslide is the most common one in the Himalayan regions. Let's say you are posted in Manali or Kulu region. So Kulu का जितना भी district है, you will be the head of that particular district, yes or no? So on and often landslides would occur. So it is you who have to tackle it. Earthquakes, landslides. ऐसा नहीं कि आप tackle करने का मतलब ये नहीं कि आप खुद JCB चलाते हुए you will clean it, but you have to tackle that particular unrest, right? So it's a geological unrest which generally is created. If you are posted in coastal region, cyclones and tsunamis are the most common disasters which hit, yes or no? So to have that particular knowledge, this landslides concept has been introduced. That's why what UPSC would be doing is, on and often it tends to check your knowledge on this part. Sometimes they will ask you regarding earthquake, sometimes they ask you regarding cyclone, sometimes they ask you regarding this landslide. Reason behind it is you who have to understand that effectively, so that your brilliance will come into picture during your administration. However, you will learn disaster management sitting in Labasna. You have a separate module for it. They will teach you how to tackle the disaster, but वो लबासना में समझने के लिए यहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत you have to understand, right? Without knowing anything, directly लबासना में बैठ गए, disaster management का module start हुआ, and if you ask them, sir, what is the definition of disaster, वहाँ से चप्पल फेंकेंगे, है ना? There, the professor who teaches you in Labasna, do you go them and ask by sitting in the class? Would you ask them, sir, disaster की definition बताओ, or else sir catastrophe की definition बताओ, risk की definition बताओ, sir landslide क्या होता है? तो वो बोलेंगे तू इतने दिन कर क्या रहा था? Clear when you were reading. So not necessary that you understand deeper context of landslide, but हाँ, landslide होता है. Reasons of landslide are these. We have natural reasons and we have some man-made reasons also. Deforestation, clear, mining along the mountainous regions, tourism, all these are also contributing for the landslides, yes or no? So he has asked about the differences in the reasons of landslides which occur in Himalayas as well as Western Ghats region. In general, they tend to ask these two itself, because Aravalli, Veeravali में तो landslide होगा नहीं, है ना? वो तो छोटा मोटा landslide है, उससे ना पत्थर हिलेगा ना रोड हिलेगा, so उसका कुछ जिक्र नहीं है. Mainly they will ask Himalayas and Western Ghats itself. Yes, can you comment why Himalayan regions will be experiencing heavy landslides? Tectonic movement and huge amount of earthquakes. Very good. What else? The structure, the geological structure of Himalayas, it has very steep topography and have soft rocks which can be eroded very easily. That tends to fall down very easily. Very good. Next, what else? The glacial activity and heavy rains and subjugate rains like cloudburst. The heavy rainfalls will lead to the driving of the mass movement. Western Ghats, why Western Ghats would be experiencing landslides? Earthquake तो लिखेंगे नहीं वेस्टर्न घाट में, लिखेंगे तो चप्पल का सिंबल आएगा उस पे, है ना? Heavy rainfall is the reason. When you might have read about the Indian climate, there you might have read that monsoon enters from Western Ghats region. It tends to create heavy amount of precipitation on the western side of Western Ghats. Have you read this? Orographic rainfall, windward side, leeward side, you might have heard about this. So first reason is heavy rainfall. Second reason is topography which you will be writing. The steep slopes which these Western Ghats have. So landslides రాసేటప్పుడు sir Western Ghats లో never ever mention earthquake. చాలా మంది ఇదే తప్పు చేస్తారు అన్నట్టు. Western Ghats will also experience earthquake అని. But never ever, while you write the Western Ghat landslide wala question, never ever write earthquake. But you can write one major point. మనకి హిమాలయస్ లో ఎట్లా అయితే how earthquakes are playing the dominant role for landslides to occur. In Western Ghats, it is the human activities, the land used pattern. If you read Hindu newspaper, on and often every week, once or every week or 10 days ఒకసారి వెస్టర్న్ ఘాట్స్ న్యూస్లో ఉంటుంది. ఎయిదర్ డిఫారెస్టేషన్ ప్యాటర్న్ or tribal economic activity, eco-sensitive zone, or this particular species of butterfly has been found, caterpillar has been found. మీరు చూడండి కావాలంటే వెస్టర్న్ ఘాట్స్ వుడ్ బి ఇన్ న్యూస్. సో దట్ వెస్టర్న్ ఘాట్స్ ఈజ్ బీయింగ్ డిస్ట్రాయిడ్. దట్స్ వై ఇట్ ఫాల్స్ అండర్ biodiversity hotspot. Western Ghat falls under biodiversity hotspot, you know, right? 4 biodiversity hotspots are there. Western Ghats, Himalayan regions, the Sunda land, and this Andaman Nicobar Purvanchal extension, right? And అంటే ఈ క్వశ్చన్లో ఇవ్వలేదు కానీ if you are supposed to write the measures to control the landslides, what you are going to write? Afforestation, very good. Control on responsible tourism we can write. Contour bunding, contour fencing, mulching is for soil erosion. सब कुछ में mulching लिख लिए. इनका monitoring regular zones where on and off an earthquakes would be coming, regular strip sliping, fencing. Clear? These are some methods. So hopefully whenever you write an answer regarding with landslides or any disaster, you mention this point, like write a note and write this point. Whenever you write any answer regarding with disaster, suggest some measures according with it. Okay. Done. What is the third question? What do you understand by thunderstorm cloudburst? Why does cloudburst happen mostly in mountains and hilly regions? Is it possible to forecast cloudburst? Explain. See, thunderstorm and cloudburst are almost similar terms. Thunderstorm refers to accumulation of huge cumulonimbus clouds. Clear? During the cyclonic activity we see huge amount of lightning. Yes or no? So such kind of cloud, cumulonimbus cloud formations at one zone is a thunderstorm. Himalayan regions generally will be experiencing cloudburst, which is also a concept of thunderstorm itself. Cloudburst refers to sudden accumulation of cloud within that particular zone for a flash time, within no time. Here also in urban areas we generally see this cloudburst, but we don't understand. Suddenly we face heat, and once we go outside suddenly it starts raining. It is also an accumulation of cloud at one area. I'll show you one video regarding with the cloudburst, so which has took place in the Himachal. So the Uttarakhand floods are attached with this particular cloudburst itself. See, where no cloud would be there, suddenly huge accumulations of cloud and sudden pour of water you have seen there, right? So that sudden pour of water generally refers to the cloudburst. See, in the mountainous regions, the clouds generally accumulate at one instance at very faster rate. In India, the Himalayan regions experiences this particular cloudburst. There are two reasons why we will be experiencing flash floods in Uttarakhand region. Reason number 1, cloudburst. Reason number 2, glacial outburst. Are you getting this? So you can see this picturization here. Sudden accumulation of cloud and falling sample of water within huge amount of water at one particular area. Clear? It refers to cloudburst, and here they have given the same definition. Thunderstorms are local storms characterized by swift upward movement of air and heavy rainfall with cloud thundering. And when heavy downpour is associated with thunderstorms, clear, for a limited period of time, that is called as cloud burst. So technically rainfall of 10 centimeters or above in 10 kilometer area per hour. So that can be referred as cloud burst. What are the reasons for cloud burst? Generally, cloud burst would be occurring within the plain regions also. It doesn't mean that cloud burst should occur in Himalayan regions or any hilly regions, but it is more proxy to mountainous regions. That's it. It will occur in plain regions also, but it is more closely associated with the mountainous regions. In this they have given cloud burst happens in plains as well, but they have had greater probability in the mountains and hilly regions. Cloud burst happens when saturated clouds unable to produce rain due to upward movement of warm air current, and the rain drops instead of dropping down are carried upward by the air current, and this will result into quick flash of the water. So that quick flash of the water refers to the cloud burst. This is only a nominal content which has been given in your model answer. Still better content can be addressed. You can just search it within the internet for the cloud burst information, and you can take it and you can add some more points. Here this is a below average content. Clear, the model answer which they have given, they have just given you the direction to write, but similarly you can use the internet for more information regarding with the cloud burst, and you can collect and write the better answer. Clear. And while you write this particular cloud burst, they have asked, is it possible to forecast the cloud burst? No, it is very difficult. If they have forecasted it, then why we would be experiencing the flash floods in that particular region? So it is difficult to forecast, but some precautionary measures can be taken. Okay. And whenever this cloud burst answer is also one of the disaster related answer, you can suggest some measures regarding with it. And in the conclusion, whenever you write the case study, either cloud burst versus the flash flood versus Uttarakhand wala, suggest some measure or precautionary measure, or else you can attach this cloud burst with global warming and climate change. Either attach this cloud burst with disaster management in the conclusion and suggest some measure, or attach this cloud burst frequency with the global warming and climate change. So in these two perceptions, any perception you can take it and add it up. Are you getting this point, everyone? Everyone clear with this? Everyone? This is date number 24. 25. 25th, you have written the questions regarding with the first question. Explain the reasons for the formation of thousands of islands in Indonesia and Philippines archipelago. UPSC has asked a similar question, but usme they have not given this keyword of reasons. Have you seen the UPSC past question like this? No? Haven't you gone through the previous questions of mains? No, the question was like, discuss the formation of thousands of islands in Indonesia and Philippines archipelago. Question was, discuss the formation of thousands of islands in Indonesia and Philippines archipelago. But here in this question they are asking, explain the reasons for formation. UPSC has asked, discuss the formation, how they are formed. You know about plate tectonics theory, right? Two oceanic plates subducting under one plate, Indonesian plate like the Sunda plate subducting under the Indo-Australian plate has resulted into Indonesia, and the Sunda plate subducting under the Philippines plate has resulted into formation of Philippine group of islands. Yes or no? So there we are explaining about the formation of those islands, but here we are explaining the reasons. So in this question he has separately asked you the reasons. What would be the reasons? First one, plate tectonics. So movement of plates, Philippines plate, Sunda plate and Indo-Australian plate. Clear? So whenever you write about Indonesia, make sure that you include two plates, Sunda versus Indo-Australian. When you write about Philippines plate, you write about Philippines plate versus Sunda plate. Make sure you remember these two. There are chances of high probability of asking these two island based question. If you write about Japan archipelago formation, mention three plates: Philippines plate, Pacific plate, Eurasian plate. Whenever you write about Japan formation, you write about Philippines plate, Pacific plate and Eurasian plate. So here the formation of Indonesia is attached with plate tectonics, and after with the plate tectonics what will happen? Subduction activity first, subduction along the trench. After subduction, volcanic activity, yes or no? And after the volcanic activity, faulting and uplifting is also one aspect why this particular Indonesia and Philippines archipelago have been formed. Then erosion in course of time. Once the island is formed, it would also be eroded with the oceanic water, right? So in course of time, it might also have been eroded to form the islandic formations. Whenever you write regarding with these reasons, if they don't ask the reasons, if they ask explain the formation of thousands of islands in Indonesia and Philippines, no necessity to mention this. Directly you start your answer with plate tectonics theory, convergent plate, oceanic convergence, in Indo-Australian plate, Sunda plate collision, subduction. You mention the figure there. For this, as they have asked the reasons, no necessity that you draw a diagrammatical representation of map of Indonesia and Philippines. But here you can draw the diagrams of faulting, you can draw the diagram of erosion, you can draw the diagram of subduction, you can draw the diagram of plate tectonics. Within this particular answer, this diagram can be drawn. If you are writing an answer for discuss the formation of thousands of islands of Indonesia and Philippines, then you have to draw the plate surrounding that Indonesia and Philippines, and you have to show the oceanic collision, subduction, melting, andesitic eruption. You know about acidic lava, andesitic eruption? In region where some plate is subducted, and that plate which got subducted, if that is melting and coming out from the opposite slab, from there acidic lava comes out. Where divergent plates will happen, there basic lava comes out. Acidic lava coming out is andesitic eruption, basic lava coming out is basaltic eruption. You mention these two keywords also when you write this answer. Okay. Diagram is must. Okay. Diagrams will give you some better correlation with the answers. Come to the question number 2. Major hot deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20 to 30 degree on western side of continents. Discuss why. Generally, it is not only in northern hemisphere, but also in southern hemisphere the same thing is going to happen. First of all, keeping this question aside, explain me what is a desert. Low rainfall, we can call it as desert. Give me, again I am warning you, give me the answer to the question which I have asked. Again, don't go to the Akbar story. What is desert? Prevalence of arid conditions over a period of time. How you will define arid? Again you come to same story. That's why I have elaborated it. My question is, what is desert? If I switch off the AC now, Does temperature vary? It will. Then I can call this as desert. Simply desert is that region where we have lack of vegetation. Whenever you want to define this, don't say, matlab, by seeing movies, we influence and we take the desert in another perception. But desert is any region which doesn't have vegetation, which lacks in vegetation. When I ask you question why it is lagging in vegetation, then give your answers. Sir, low rainfall, arid soil, high temperature. तो तब दीजिए आंसर मुझे. But when someone asks you a question, what is desert? I was taking mock interview. I was in the panel of 5 members. March में. Name उतना याद नहीं है. Lady. A lady of age 28 to 29. It was her 6th attempt with geography as optional. So obviously within the panel, every one particular person will be expert in one subject. Some in psychology, some in some subjective general studies. So as when I came to know that she has, because we will have her details in front of us, she having geography as optional. However, I will get more time of chance to ask more questions on what optional she had. Generally in mock panels they do that, but in original interview they don't give that first to the optional. 1 or 2 questions here and there they might ask, otherwise they will leave it off. So मुझे पता था कि like however she is going to not going to give the answer correctly, but I have asked a question, what is a desert? The same answer where general aspirants would be saying, she has said it. Desert is the region of low rainfall where we have high temperatures. तो मैंने contradict नहीं किया because I don't want to make her lose confidence. I just boosted up her confidence saying that अच्छा you are saying about high temperature का मतलब desert है. So if I go to Gobi desert and if I stand, then also I will face high temperature. She said, no sir, only in hot deserts we find high temperatures. Then I have asked a definition on desert, right? Then how could you justify yourself by saying temperature high as a perspective in the question which I have asked? Then she commented, no sir, actually it is low rainfall. मैंने बोला ठीक है. If I show you rainfall in desert, what you will give? मैंने पूछा था. Sir, in which desert you will be showing me? मैं कहीं नहीं लेके जाऊंगा, आपको राजस्थान लेके जाऊंगा. In winter season, I'll show you rainfall from western disturbances. Then wouldn't you say that Thar desert is a desert in winter? नहीं sir, ऐसा नहीं है. Then what is a desert? Again I have asked the question. Then she started saying about the topography. So desert is the region which is completely dominated with sand as a soil. तो मैंने बोला अच्छा सैंड एज ए सॉइल, ठीक है, मैं आइस दिखा देता हूँ आपको डेजर्ट में. वुड यू कम विथ मी? इन लद्दाख आई विल शो यू आइस शीट कवर्ड फ्रॉस्ट शीट. देन वुडंट यू कॉल इट एज ए डेजर्ट? नहीं सर. देन शी हैज टुक सम अदर पाथ. मैंने बोला सी लेडी, डेजर्ट इज दैट थिंग వేర్ వెజిటేషన్ ఈజ్ ల్యాకింగ్. మనం తెలుగులో ఒక సామెత ఉండేది, మీకు గుర్తుందా? ఓళ్ళు బండ్లయ్యేవి, బండ్లు ఓడలయ్యేవి, రాజులు పరిపాలించిన రాజ్యాలు ఎడారులయ్యేవి, రాయలసీమ రతనాల సీమగా ఉండేది, ఇప్పుడు ఎడారిగా మారిపోయిందని. ఎడారిగా మారిపోయిందంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటి? డెజర్ట్గా చేంజ్ అయింది అన్నట్టు కదా. It has transformed into desert. In which context it has transformed? In vegetation itself. Yes or no? Not on basis of temperature, not on basis of rainfall, not on basis of any other stuff. If that region is lagging in vegetation, that is desert. Are you getting this point? We have different deserts. Hot and dry deserts, cold deserts, polar deserts. We have different deserts. Okay. Now, sticking to the question, in general, what are the reasons why deserts would be formed? Now you answer it. Now you explain me what are the reasons why deserts would be forming. There are 5 reasons. If you give 5 answers, 5 reasons. I'll give you a gift now. Okay, very good. Ocean currents. No, he has only one has to give in it. First is cold current. Very good. Offshore trade winds. Good. Continentality. Very good. अगर दो नहीं बोलेंगे तो आप गिफ्ट देना पड़ेगा मुझे. वो कॉन्टिनेंटैलिटी हो गया. चलो ठीक है, मैं बता देता हूँ. Oceanic current. In those regions where we have cold oceanic currents in general at the lower latitude, desert मिलेगा. Okay. Second is descending air column from equatorial region. Do you know this? From equatorial region, air mass raises, cloud formation, precipitation, then it descends at the tropics, creating high pressure belts. So descending air column is second reason. Third, offshore trade winds, as अपना लड़का जो बोला था, offshore trade. Okay. Fourth, as the person has said, what was the continentality, right? Continentality. Fifth, rain shadow region. These are the 5 reasons why we shall be having the desert formations. Generally 1 and 2, these both come hand by hand, descending air column and offshore trade winds. So this is the reason why cold oceanic present along the western margin, descending air column and offshore trade winds along the western margins. We have the deserts located along the tropics along the western margins of the countries or continents. In this particular question, they have asked major deserts in northern hemisphere are located between 20 to 30. 20 to 30 क्यों? Why? Descending air column. And on western side of continents, so offshore trade winds, subtropical high pressure, descending air column, oceanic currents. In this answer, rain shadow effect has been given. But is rain shadow effect suitable for this question? What is rain shadow effect? What is rain shadow effect? What is rain shadow effect? Yes, rain shadow effect. Lack of rainfall due to orographic obstruction. Very good. In orographic rainfall, we shall be having windward side and leeward side. So as higher the mountain raises, the wind would be obstructed that much. So the wind movement back to the mountain becomes the dry. If the mountain is more higher, the wind is more drier. Along the leeward side. This is leeward side, everyone know it, right? Which is also called as a rain shadow region. Telangana, eastern Karnataka, eastern Maharashtra, Rayalaseema region, some portions of Tamil Nadu falls under the rain shadow region of Western Ghats in India. Yes or no? So along this rain shadow region, there shall be very little precipitation or no precipitation. If there is little precipitation, semi-arid region, semi-arid type of climate. If it is no precipitation, arid. That's why along the back of the mountains in general, where we have heavy highest mountains, back to that we generally find deserts. Example, Patagonian desert, back to Andes mountain ranges in South America. Ladakh desert, back to Himalayas in India. Taklamakan desert, back to the Himalayas in China. They are the very good examples of being a desert. Generally, back to the mountains, we shall be having desertified formations, which is called as rain shadow effect. Got this point, everyone? Clear? Everyone clear with this? So, continentality and rain shadow region are not suitable for this question. They are reasons for deserts. So make sure that you write that particular answer. Again, Akbar की कहानी मत लिखो है ना. Yesterday I was saying, ये पांच तो आपको पता है, like these are the reasons why deserts would be formed. But for this question, these three are only suitable. Fourth and fifth wala are not suitable to this question. Why they are on a western margin? Because of continentality, western margin पे नहीं रहेंगे, central portion of continent पे रहेंगे. Can you give example regarding with the continentality formed desert? Gobi Desert, very good. So, but right now, the process of desertification is increasing. That is the most important concern. Have you read about Mother Earth Summit, Rio Summit 1992? So, post that we had UNCCD CBD Forest Principles Rio 21. Have you heard about that? UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification. You have heard about this? So that UNCCD which is there, United Nations Conference on Convention on Combating Desertification, that itself shows that along the global arena, the process of desertification is increasing either because of global warming, climate change, or because of the direct human activities. And UPSC has asked the same question. I think so. It was in 2022 prelims. They have asked a question in one of the water bodies from West Africa. They have converted into desertified regions. One of the lakes got converted into desertified regions. Which of the following lakes is mentioned above? I think so. The lake is Lake Fugibine. Clear. That was a lake that has slowly converted into the desertified margin. Okay. So UPSC has given the syllabus in GS paper 1, the last line of the syllabus, if you see the geographical features and their locations and critical changes in that particular geographical features, including its flora and fauna, including polar ice caps and the regions associated with it. This is the last line of the syllabus in GS paper 1. So that particular question comes from this. So desertification is a continuous process. If you see in India, later on just Google it. The desert in the Rajasthan location is extending itself towards the eastern Uttar Pradesh. In India, the Thar desert is increasing its area. So it means desertification is happening. Desertification is a process of increasing in area of the desert. Are you getting this point? That's why this is ever time contemporary question. Maximum chances are there. UPSC might pose this question on and often. इस बार दिए तो next बार भी दे सकते हैं. It's not like इस बार दे दिए तो next बार क्वेश्चन देने का चांस नहीं है. They might give. UPSC might repeat the question, but same question might not appear. But same topic might appear, right? Topic might come in the exam. That's why you have to focus on this. Okay? Is this clear on the process of desertification? So whenever desert answer or desertification wala answer comes into picture, make sure that you relate it with the environmental aspect and that combating desertification wala aspect. Okay? Now coming to the question number 3. Define oceanic currents, enumerate location of cold and warm oceanic current. What are the effects of oceanic currents? Okay. So here they have asked you 3 segments of the question. Define oceanic current. Can anyone define oceanic current? Hot water. कौन सा गीजर से? Movement of hot water directly. हाँ. उतना लिखना नहीं है भाई. Define oceanic current. Bulk mass of water moving in a particular direction for a longer distance in the ocean, similarly like that of rivers moving on the land. Oceanic currents are like river flows in the oceans. The same model answer they have given. They represent a regular volume of water in a defined path and direction. Oceans are regular movement of flow within the oceanic currents are regular flow of water in the oceans in a particular direction in a definite path. Are you getting this? The primary forces that influence this oceanic current, actually within this question they did not ask what factors would be influencing the oceanic currents. No necessity that you write it, but if you want to fill the paper when you don't have any choice, then you write it. But second part of the question is enumerate location of cold and warm oceanic currents. Across the world, you know where cold oceanic currents are present, where warm oceanic currents are present. You know where is Benguela current, where is Gulf Stream, Peruvian current, Californian, Kuroshio, Oashio, Agulhas current, Labrador current from the Davis Strait. Make sure that you remember this location. For this question also, what you can do is you can draw a quick world map, smaller wala, itna space mein, and you can mark 4 cold oceanic currents. No need to write all this nonsense. Cold oceanic currents bring cold water into the warm water. Directly, ये जो place area है, you can draw the world map and you can mention cold and warm oceanic currents, 4 each, 4 or 5 each. That would be more than enough. Okay. And in third part of the question, they have asked what are the effects of oceanic currents. Can you say what are the effects? Effects of oceanic currents. Third part of the question, they have given effects of oceanic currents. Can you say what are the effects? Desert formations, very good. Desert formations under when oceanic currents, cold oceanic currents would be creating deserts, that is called as desiccating effect. Okay. If you want, you can write this keyword also. Whenever cold oceanic current presence is creating desert, that can be called as desiccating effect. Okay. Got this point, everyone? Yes. One is desiccating effect, desert creation. What else? Very good. The cold and warm oceanic current collaboration or the confluence zone will be feeding the fishes, are the good sources for the fishes. Very good. What else? Oceanic currents will be acting as the balancing of temperature. They help in balancing of temperature. Very good. What else? Oceanic currents, they generally tend to help in the, you should not say it as a rainfall temperature or monsoon. You can say it like oceanic currents tend to determine the climate of the regions, different regions. The regional climates are dominated by the oceanic currents, the regional climates, the local climates. What else? Movement of minerals, better you can skip it, because like in general waves are the most important motions of water body, which generally tend to have the quick movement of minerals. Oceanic currents, you can't say it exactly. Okay. And oceanic currents will help in navigation. Clear? For the movement of huge vessels, they generally tend to help. Yes or no? What else? Salinity balance, temperature balance. You can write these particular effects. Okay. But make sure that you draw the diagrammatical representation for sure. Otherwise, you are not going to score greater marks in this. Done. This was the exam on 25th. Exam on 26th. So ये तो क्लाइमेट एंड ज्योग्राफी के ऊपर दिए हैं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1, bring out the causes for formation of heat island in urban habitat of the world. Same question as it is has appeared in UPSC. Discuss the causes for the formation of urban heat island. First of all, my question is, what is urban heat island? Yes. What do you mean by urban heat island? वो green building concept बोल रहे हैं. No. Have you heard this? Yes. Excessive heat present in? Very good. Very good. For example, if this is Hyderabad, okay, Hyderabad is filled with huge concrete jungle, huge infrastructure, no vegetation cover, heavy vehicle pollution, huge surface areas for trapping the heat. So, relatively Hyderabad regions would be experiencing more temperatures than its surrounding areas. For example, surrounding areas of Hyderabad, if you take Shamshabad, near to the airport zone, and somewhere near to the Shamirpet. So, these are the outskirts of Hyderabad, yes or no? One towards the Nagpur highway, one towards the Bangalore highway, and Patancheru on one side and Vijayawada belt on other side. If you see the outskirts of Hyderabad, Hyderabad relatively will be experiencing more temperature comparatively to the adjacent regions. Are you getting this point? So, this particular Hyderabad region is considered as urban heat island. Why the concept of urban heat island would be developed? That is what he has asked in the question. So, first in the introduction you will define what is urban heat island. Then in the body you will write what are the reasons why urban heat islands are developed. And in the conclusion you will suggest some measures how to tackle this particular urban heat island. What might be the reasons why Hyderabad might be acting as an urban heat island? The reasons which I have said: lack of water bodies, because presence of water bodies will be having a cooling effect, will be having reducing of temperatures under the cooling effect. But lack of water bodies in and around Hyderabad. एक जो water body मूसी है उसको तो खराब करके बैठे है ना. मूसी was a fresh water, fresh drinking water river, but आजकल आप मूसी के आस पास में भी जा नहीं सकते. It is not only the case of Musi, same with the case of Yamuna in the Delhi, Mathura region, same with the case of Ganga. Many rivers where urban cities are there, they are being polluted. So, lack of water bodies, point number one. Point number two, huge concrete jungles which provide high rise buildings which provide huge surface area for absorption and trapping of heat. Point number two. Point number three, vehicular pollutions. सिग्नल के ऊपर खड़े रहेंगे एंड वो फॉर्मूला 1 रेस की जैसा करते रहेंगे, मतलब 10, 9 वो काउंटडाउन से मतलब बंद कर सकते ना भाई. यू कैन स्विच ऑफ योर मोटर व्हीकल राइट, बट दे वोंट डू इट. मैं एक टैंक बंड के पास देखता हूं, वो सिग्नल छोड़ते हैं ऐसा लगता है कि लाइक फॉर्मूला 1 की रेस की गाड़ी वो ट्रैक शुरू हो गई. नो वन विल स्टॉप देयर व्हीकल. ऊपर से साउंड पोल्यूशन, रेडियो एक्टिव पोल्यूशन. सो ऑल दीज आर मेकिंग अर्बन हीट आइलैंड. Lack of vegetation. Everyone needs shade of a tree to park their car, but no one will at least plant a tree. This is the urban modulation, urban attitude. Unless and until the attitude of people will change, clear, this is not going to be tackled. What else? Industrial release of smoke. Pollution from vehicles and industries, solid waste dumping, deforesting the lands and कब्जा कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर real estate है ना. These are the reasons. So what we can do to tackle this? आप तो ये नहीं बोल सकते कि लाइक अपार्टमेंट का कंस्ट्रक्शन बंद करो, लाइक रिफ्लेक्टिव मिरर्स, Miyawaki method, very good. Huh? Urban forestry, social forestry, terrace gardening. Clear? These are the methods. And one more reason in urban region is air conditioners. यही क्लास में देख लो 6 एयर कंडीशनर्स हैं 6 लोग है ना, 6 एयर कंडीशनर है ना. They are releasing the heat. They are releasing the heat. That heat is transforming into global warming. और बाहर जाती है और गर्मी लगेगा और अंदर आके फिर एसी चालू. So already we have fallen under that particular vicious cycle. People attitude has to change. We have to transfer into green economy. Utilization of public transport. taking a walk or riding a bicycle of going to nearest distances. बट हम कहीं पे भी जाना है फिर कार निकालो, बाइक निकालो. मम्मी बोला शॉप जाके मैगी पैकेट लेके आओ, फिर एक्टिवा. आजकल तो एक्टिवा ऐसा हो गया घर में एवरीवन हैज एक्टिवा जस्ट टू गो हियर एंड देयर फॉर शॉप्स. मतलब अर्लियर तो बचपन में हम क्या करते थे, भागते भागते शॉप जाते थे, फिर रनिंग वी यूज्ड टू कम होम, वी यूज्ड टू सी कार्टून, मॉम यूज्ड टू आस्क अस टू ब्रिंग समथिंग फ्रॉम किराना शॉप और सुपरमार्केट. वी यूज्ड टू रन लाइक हुसैन बोल्ट, पैसे पकड़ के भागते 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 गए, फिर वो लिए, फिर भागते 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 वापस. बट आजकल वो कहीं नहीं दिख रहा. ऊपर से लिफ्ट पूछ रहे, बाइक नहीं है तो भाई थोड़ा शॉप करने छोड़ दो. सो पीपल एटीट्यूड हैज टू चेंज फर्स्ट. वाटर बॉडीज, रिन्यूएबल मेथड्स, क्लियर ग्रीन बिल्डिंग्स कॉन्सेप्ट, टेरेस फार्मिंग, मियावाकी मेथड्स, clear electrical vehicle usage. People write some extreme answers, completely shift to electric now. मतलब कैसे हो सकता भाई, एलन मस्क थोड़ी है इधर टेस्ला लाने के लिए. Completely how you will shift to electric. Also utilizing electric mobility is fine. कोई लिख रहा था आंसर, completely right now government has to ban all this diesel petrol vehicle and रात रात डिमोनेटाइजेशन की तरह कल से पेट्रोल डीजल की गाड़ी बंद, इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स. इज इट पॉसिबल? चलो भाई इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स दे देंगे, गवर्नमेंट खुद दे देंगे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी व्हीकल. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कहां से लाएंगे? फ्रॉम वेयर डू वी गेट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी? बाय बर्निंग कोल ऑपरेशन. विंड प्लांट तो नहीं है इतना, सोलर पैनल्स भी नहीं है. मैक्सिमम तो वी विल टेक इट फ्रॉम थर्मल पावर, राइट, कोल थर्मल पावर स्टेशंस. तो कोल बर्निंग ऑपरेशंस में भी वही होगा ना भाई, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज. सो whenever you write answer, write a reasonable answer. Okay, so suggesting some measures is very very important when you write this kind of answer. Okay, now question number 2. Bring out the relation between shrinking Himalayan glaciers and the symptoms of climate change in Indian subcontinent. See, this was a recent current affair article. Generally, Himalayan glaciers are the sources for our rivers. But these Himalayan glaciers, they are melting at very faster rate, which are resulting into huge amount of flash floods. Those flash floods in turn are depositing more sediments, and more sedimental depositions are again absorbing the climate, again absorbing the temperatures which are coming from the sun, and again the surface area temperatures are being increased. Bring out the relation between shrinking Himalayan glaciers and the symptoms of climate change. So symptoms of climate change such as rising temperature, altered precipitation patterns, and extreme weather conditions like cyclonic aspects are the things which we say. And due to this shrinking Himalayan glaciers, we will face some problems like इसमें दिया है water scarcity, alter river flows, increase the risk of glacial lake outburst floods, GLOFs. Mostly in the last year we have seen it n number of times in the newspaper. So it will disrupt the natural ecosystem, riverine ecology would be disturbed, hence that further contributes for the climate change. So you have to write this as a cyclical process. Himalayan glaciers are shrinking, that are impacting climate change. This climate change again is adversing the increase of shrinking of Himalayan glaciers. If this Himalayan glacier shrinks, let's assume in this way, the amount of insolation falling on the surface, because you know the concept of albedo, right? What is albedo? Diffuse reflectivity, right? So if glaciers melt completely, what will happen? The amount of insolation falling on the surface, the absorption capacity would increase, the reflection would reduce. It means albedo would be reducing. When albedo reduces, obviously what will happen? Absorption increases. Absorption increases, that results into the climate change aspects. Okay, so here whenever you try to write this kind of answer, climate change is adversely impacting the shrinking of Himalayan glaciers. Shrinking of Himalayan glaciers are again contributing to climate change. You should write in this particular systematic cyclical way. So in this model answers they have given like melting glaciers, climate change is causing Himalayan glaciers to melt. This is the nominal one. Water resources which are there, we shall be facing water scarcity problems later on. Altered river flows will disturb the hydel power flow and also floods. Glacial outburst floods will increase the will disrupt the landscape development and change in ecosystems and alteration in ecosystem. So here conclusion में क्या लिखेंगे? Climate, how to tackle climate change. इसमें कुछ conclusion, Himalayan glacier, you can't stop shrinking of Himalayan glacier. If you want to stop that, what do you have to stop it? You have to take the precautionary measures and you have to control the climatic change impact. See, if you go to Himalayan glacier and say नहीं नहीं आप melt नहीं होंगे आज रुकिए, मतलब would it happen? No. If you control climatic change, automatically the shrinking of Himalayan glaciers would be controlled. Okay. For this, the measure which you would be writing, that is regarding with the climatic change. You know what are the measures you will be writing for climatic change? Afforestation, stopping the plastic pollution, reducing the air pollution, electric mobility.
I mean, Paris climate
Agreement which happened in 2015-16, yes. So which intended nationally determined contributions reducing carbon emissions. But अपना मोदी भाई गया फिर इजिप्ट में. In COP 26-27 again they have modified in the Glasgow summit, right? So they have modified the targets which they have given in the Paris climate summit. So abhi they have promised some 550 gigawatt of energy they will take from non-fossil fuel energy. Like recently our environment minister Bhupender Yadav, right? So he has also went to Egypt and he has did it. You can write the recent COP 26 and COP 26 wala, you can write it up. Okay. What is the next question? Most of the unusual climatic happenings are explained as an outcome of El Nino effect. Do you agree? Yes. Everyone know about El Nino? What is El Nino? It is El Nino. Or is it an impact of El Nino?
it's an impact.
Then explain El Nino. You know about Walker circulation? Along the Australian coast you have warm oceanic current, East Australian warm oceanic current. Along the South American coast you have cold oceanic current. When there would be a shifting pattern of wind, normal pattern is Walker circulation, shifting pattern is El Nino. So whenever the Walker circulation shifts, there shall be an impact on Australian climate, South American climate, Indian climate and also across the world. But mostly you can observe in Australia, South America and India. During El Nino, what will happen along the Australian coast? Droughts, dry condition prevail. South American coast, more rainfall. India, monsoon fails, drought like conditions prevail. So El Nino is a phenomena which is a reversal of Walker circulation, which occurs for every 2 to 3 years once, which is a natural phenomena which will happen in the southern Pacific Ocean. Okay, but in the contemporary issue, El Nino impact has been increasing in very vaster rate due to global warming. Earlier, El Nino used to come once for every 3 to 5 years. But right now, if you see in this decade, the last decade, last 2 decades if you calculate, El Nino started coming in a prevailing aspect for every 2 years once. For every alternate year, we are experiencing El Nino. This is because of global warming and climate change. But इस question में तो वैसा कुछ पूछे नहीं. They have asked what are the impacts of El Nino. You can write the drought conditions. You can explain the Walker circulation. And finally, many people tend to you will write this impact on Indian monsoon, Peru wala impact, Australian impact. I have seen one particular answer sheet. One of you have written the same. I was seeing yesterday. In that they have written like, to control El Nino, we have to control global warming. मतलब El Nino की control करने की कुछ जरूरत नहीं है. See, you can't control El Nino. Can you stop volcano? El Nino is also one natural phenomena which is happening. You can't stop El Nino. You can't stop its impact on India. You can just maintain a precautionary stage. That you can do. You can't stop it. But in conclusion, whenever you write, see what you will be doing in the introduction for this answer, you will explain what is El Nino with a diagrammatical representation. In the main body, you will explain its impact. In the conclusion, what you will explain? You should not write these things like, I will suggest some measures for tackling El Nino. You should not write it. Rather, you can write El Nino is a natural phenomena, we can't stop it. But global warming is making the El Nino event to occur very frequently. So, tackling global warming can come handy in picture in tackling El Nino. And in context of India, the El Nino can be tackled by taking some precautionary measures on the Indian climatic system. Like as agricultural dependency is on monsoon, as monsoon fails, dryland farming or other techniques, alternate techniques can be managed. In this way, you have to write the conclusion so that examiner can be impressed. Are you getting this point, everyone? You should not write like मैं देखूंगा एल नीनो को मैं रोक दूंगा, आज देखेंगे एल नीनो रहेगा कि मैं रहूंगा. This kind of extreme answers are not expected while you write your mains answers. Okay, got this point, everyone? Clear with this, everyone? Still, do we left out with any other question? That's it, right? Done. So the 6 papers which we have discussed. Done. Do you have any doubts from this segment? No? Clear, everyone? Clear with this? Hope you have got at least a 50% idea on what to write. What you have written is wrong. You have got a knowledge. Still you have lots of time to write the answers. Make sure that you frame it in a very structured. Done. Thank you.